Why haven't I got back pay? How much money do you save? How much do I need to retire comfortably? The answer to these questions and more in this video. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Savvy Squaddie. In this video, I'm going to be answering a bunch of different questions that you have submitted. Thank you to all those that have sent some in. I will get around to as many as I can, starting off with a number of questions on back pay and why some people haven't received any. The short answer that will apply to most in this situation is that across all three services, the most junior privates or equivalent all received pay awards back in April 2024 to keep their pay in line with the national living wage. Those of us who are on OR2, which is a private, and increment level 4 and above had to wait for our 6% pay award, which is why that's being backdated to April. I explain it in more detail in my pay award video, link below. Staying on the same vein, what would you do with your back pay if you were new to investing? First, not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. Personally, I would see if I needed the money in less than 5 years. If I do, then into savings it goes. If I don't, then I would invest it. I would keep it nice and simple and stick to an index fund which tracks the world using a stocks and shares ISA. It's boring but simple. I do have a whole playlist on investing which can help teach you the basics. I will link it below. Next up, what's the score with capital gains tax? Do I have to pay it when I sell my only property? That would depend if your only property is your main home or if you let it out. For those that don't know, capital gains tax is something you must pay when you sell something that has increased in value. You pay a tax on the profit you have made. There is of course an allowance and some exceptions. Currently, the capital gains tax-free allowance is £3,000, but who knows, that could decrease even more in the October budget, or the rate could increase. When it comes to selling personal possessions, you must pay it if the value is over £6,000, but your car is exempt from that. Your main home is also exempt from CGT. However, if you have any rental properties, then these are not. Also, your main home loses its exemption if you have let it out, used it for a business, or is very large. You would also have to pay capital gains tax when you sell any shares that you own which have increased in value, unless you have used a stocks and shares ISA. If you rent out a house, do you have to declare it as income if it's more than your mortgage? You actually have to declare it anyway, regardless of whether it covers your mortgage or not, as it's a form of income. The first £1,000 of income from property rental is tax-free. However, if the income is over £2,500 a year, then you must complete a self-assessment. If it is between £1,000 and £2,500, then contact HMRC. Do you know much about guaranteed income payments? By no means an expert on it, but I do cover the basics in the Armed Forces Compensation Scheme video, which I will link below. Any gen on Help to Buy? If you're referencing the Forces Help to Buy, then I have a whole video on that, which I will link below in the description. Has LSA gone up by 6%, the same as the salary increase? Yes, it has. The new rates and days required can be found on page 121 of the AFPRB 2024 report, which also answers this question: where can I find the LSA scales? I am paying into my pension via added pension. Will I see this transfer into my early departure payment on the 05 and 15? Added pension is what it's called under the AFPS 15. Any additional pension you create via this scheme will increase your EDP benefits under the 15 scheme only. Another one on added pension. Can you make a video showing the benefits of overpaying into our military pension over investing elsewhere? I absolutely can, and I already have. It's a proper in-depth video on how added pension works and is calculated, and is then compared to investing that money instead into the stock market. It will be linked below. And then the final one on added pension: where do I actually find the AFPS Form 6 for additional contributions? The Gov website has many of the forms, including Form 6. A quick Google should give you the page, but I will also link it below. Is it possible to transfer an army pension to the police? The AFPS 15 can be transferred out to some other schemes, however there are quite a few rules surrounding it. I would recommend seeking professional financial advice before committing to it, as it may not be the best option financially. What has been your career timeline? So I joined the army in October 2014, completed phase 1 in Pirbright and then phase 2 in Bovington, and left as a Challenger 2 gunner. Got to regimental duty towards the end of July 2015, promoted to Lance Corporal in December 2017 whilst on Opgebrit 2, Decided I wanted to retrade and transfer in 2018 and went for a weeks-long aptitude assessment. Once I was given the thumbs up, my unit had other ideas and I was sent on OpcoBrit 4 in 2019. Did around 4 months on that and returned the week before I had to start my 8-month trade course. I started that course in July 2019 wearing my new cat badge and finished in February 2020, where I then promoted to corporal. This November I start a new post as a sergeant. I will be moving houses around the same time as my 10-year point in the military. At the moment, I'm still keen to complete a full 24-year career, but there is the possibility I will once again change cat badges in that time, but we shall see. I have been on the Centre for Army Leadership podcast in which I explain in a bit more detail what I have done and what I currently do. I shall link that below if you're interested. Have you done any content on childcare? No, but I do plan to. When are personnel receiving their remedial service statements? Everyone affected by the 2015 remedy should receive theirs by April 2025. If you're still serving, you're not the priority at the moment, as those with pensions already in payment take precedence, followed by those who are due out soon. I'm in a long-term relationship. Can I get support for private rent with a new accommodation model? So, at the moment, no. And this is because at the recording of this video, most of the elements under the modernised accommodation offer are still paused, and that includes LTRs being regarded the same as those who are married or in civil partnerships, and the opening up of financial support for the private rental sector. What has gone live is the refund of legal expenses and the SLA waiver. I will link below the SWAY presentation, which should be able to help provide more information on it. If part 1 of my benefit information statement details a lump sum, would that indicate I'm getting one? Most likely yes, but will depend on a few things. It might be showing you your potential lump sum under AFPS 15 commutation, which means it won't be automatic but has to be applied for. I have a whole video explaining the BIS, which I will link below. Do people consider 10k salary increase in industry a better offer than what we get now? Well, I can't speak for people, but I can speak for myself. If I was offered a job in Civilian Street and the salary was £10,000 more, and I was purely only looking at the financial benefits and incentives, the offer, to base my decision upon, I would probably decline and stay in the military. An old video I did showed how much I would have to earn in Civvy Street to not see a decrease in my family's lifestyle, and it was over 10k. And I even stupidly forgot to factor in the pension during my calculations. I will be doing an updated version of that video as times have changed since then. But as an example, just this year alone, the MOD will have contributed over £15,000 to my pension, and I haven't had to pay a penny towards it. Considering my salary is around the 38k mark for this year, that is f***ing amazing. Good luck finding that in Civvy Street. And absolutely, when going for civilian jobs, the workplace pension should be a question raised during the interview process. How much will you be required to contribute? How much does your employer contribute? And do they match any extra payments that you make? But of course, there are many other reasons than just financial which would sway someone to leave a job which had a 10k higher salary and a much less generous pension. If I was offered a job which had a higher salary, I just wouldn't weigh up the financial implications of my choice, but everything else that comes with it, work-life balance, stress, responsibilities, job satisfaction, etc. I might be willing to take a hit in the overall financial package for increases in other areas which I attribute more value to. So it's quite nuanced. How much do you save each month? Well, this number has naturally decreased since having kids. It used to be around the £800 a month mark, split between savings and investments. However, that is now down to £200 into the stock market and another £200 into savings each month. We could do more, but I'm not about living a frugal lifestyle. We still enjoy ourselves. How have you found running a social media page? Hard work, to be honest. A lot of time goes into this, and I do it all in my free time, my evenings and weekends. And that still isn't enough to do everything I want to do or should be doing in order to have the most positive effect I could be having. But it is also very fulfilling and rewarding helping so many people. How long have you been in the mob and where has your job taken you? I will have been in 10 years at the end of October, and in that time I have been to America, Canada, Norway, Finland, Estonia, France, Belgium, Afghanistan, Kenya, Hungary, Austria, Germany and Antarctica. The last one was definitely a highlight of my career thus far. What's the number one thing new squaddies should focus on, financially and for promotion? Most new squaddies will have never had a job before and will have never experienced this level of disposable income either. It is likely that many of them will not have a basic understanding of personal finance. In my opinion, one of the main things they should do is to quickly learn to live within their means as that is a pretty core financial skill. If they can learn that early on, that will set them up for success going forward. Failure to do so will only compound the problem as they move up the ranks and earn more money and start a family. Then they should quickly move on to educating themselves with regards to investing and the power of compounding. Also, especially early on, as a general rule, avoid debt. As for promotion, be fit, have a good work ethic, be a team player. When you f*** up, take responsibility for your actions instead of blaming someone else. Deliver on time and to a better standard than expected. Be respectful to everyone. Understand that wherever you go in life, there will be jobs that need doing. The military is no exception, so don't bitch and moan about it. But what I would say that a key thing is to take on extra responsibilities and to show that you are reliable, trustworthy, competent, and able to work at a rank or two above your own. Can you give some information on how pay and pensions work if you go for LE commission? So I'm hopefully going to be working with some people in the next few months who are much more clued up on the LE side of life, and I'll be creating a video about this route and the benefits, etc. I will cover how pay and pensions might change slightly in some situations. Would you know where to find service personnel childcare grants? Really appreciate it. As far as I'm aware, these are no longer a thing, and instead wraparound childcare has replaced it. I could be wrong, so if someone is more in the know, leave a comment below. How have you found your time in the military so far? Personally, I found it amazing. There have been times, of course, where I've hated parts of it, but this would be the same in any job. It would be ignorant to think otherwise. Overall, I've had great experiences. I'm a much better person because of it. I have milked and will continue to milk the military for all it offers, and you can too, but you actually have to go out and either find or create the opportunities. They won't just land on your lap. And final question is, what is a realistic figure to aim for in my ISA to live a comfortable retirement after a full career in the military? I can't really give an exact number for you because it's dependent on the sort of lifestyle you would like to lead in retirement. I will link below the retirement living standards where they recommend the amount you will need each year depending on if you would like a minimum, moderate or comfortable retirement. I would like to think you aspire for the latter. Well, in this case, if you are single in retirement, they recommend that your annual expenses will be around £43,100. So obviously your income would need to be a bit higher as you'll pay tax on your armed forces pension and state pension. ISA income is tax-free though. In my own situation, using the pension calculator, my projected income in retirement is just over £20,000 per year, just from the armed forces pension. Currently, state pension is around 11k. However, I personally do not take this into account, mainly because its current format is unlikely to remain the same for the next 40 years. In my opinion, the state pension is unreliable. A nice to have, but I won't be depending on it. That means if I was to go off ISA income, I would need around another 25k. Using a compound interest calculator, I would try to figure out how much I need to be investing each month for the next 40 years so that I can withdraw 25k a year from the account and not run out of money. £200 a month at an average of 6% over those 4 decades brings me close to just under £25,000 in annual growth. This is just a very brief and basic example. Ideally, you would have multiple streams of retirement income. Perhaps a SIP, LISA, another workplace pension from when you worked after leaving the armed forces up until retirement age, rental income, etc. Anyway, hopefully that has given you some food for thought. Thank you all for submitting your questions. Hopefully you have gained some value from those answers, or perhaps they have satisfied some of your curiosity. Let me know in the comments below if you have any further questions. Thank you all for watching. If you liked what you just saw, please hit the subscribe button up there, and if you want to see some more videos, click over there. See you soon.